So hi guys, here we are for another wild camp. It's 12 months since I did my last one, and circumstances and work have just stopped me from going on one as soon as I would like. I've come back to the same place just to make it easier because I have two dogs with me. Wesley, who I had last time, I don't know if you can see him in the background because the sun's in my eyes, and Copper, who is Wesley's brother and my stepdaughter and her fiance's dog. So I'm dog sitting for them while they're away. I've come to the same place. I have got a new toy, you can just see in the background there, called Tigger, a 1973 Series 3 ex-Army Land Rover. I've only had it a few weeks. The paint scheme was done by the people who got it off, ready to come off the road. And a couple of people said I might paint it a different colour, but I quite like it as it is. So it'll be stopping as it is. Come off the road. Sorry, dog's misbehaving. So it needs a bit of work. I'm going to try and make it into a bit of a camper. I'm not going to be filming that because it's going to be a long and slow process. I'm not mechanically minded, so I will have to, we'll see how we'll go and maybe get help off people, but that's what the plan is. In the meantime, I'm going up into these woods behind me. I just went to scout out and make sure that it was still okay to go where I went last time. I'm here at the spot I was last time. There's a few more trees down. It's sad. I've just noticed that the trees that I tend to put my tarp up under have also been sprayed as trees that need to come down because they've got this spruce infection that's killing them all off. I like it here because I've got quite a few younger trees, as you can maybe see behind me. So I'm fairly well screened from the path that goes down the bottom. So it does make it a little bit easier to be up here and not seen, although there is a bit of a path coming up here now because I think someone else has camped here. Just looking around, there's a pile of branches piled up, so they're not falling naturally, so someone's been up here. I had planned on trying to build a little bit of a shelter out of the branches of the fallen trees, but because I've been told I shouldn't be camping here and I may potentially get moved on, it's just not worth doing it. At least if I've just got a tarp, they can see that I'm just stopping for the one night. If I make a shelter, it's obvious that I plan on coming back in the future, but we'll see. I'm not going to film building my shelter. It's just a straightforward tarp again like last time. I don't know what interest I'm going to find in this. I'm making the video just in case. I'm hoping I can make it interesting. We'll see when I try and edit it. So it's going to be a bit more of a challenge having the two dogs. Both of them are well behaved separately. When they're together, they just like to wind each other up like brothers do. So as I said, the smaller one is my dog, which is Wesley, who you've met before in my previous video, if you've seen it. And the other one is Copper, his brother. As I say, I'm babysitting Copper while my stepdaughter and her fiance and my grandson are away travelling for a week. Two Spaniels together, nightmare. I almost didn't come on the wild camp, but then I thought, sod it, I would come back to where I knew, because at least I know there's no sheep around, it's pretty safe. It's a 5-minute walk back down to my vehicle to get anything I've forgotten, and then just across the road from where I'm parked there is a river, so the dogs can go and have a play in that if it gets warm. I'm worried about the midges. Just realised I forgot to bring the bug spray. However, I do have a lovely mosquito net that I forgot was in my pack from previous trips and from when I went away to Australia and what have you. So if it gets really bad, you may see me looking silly in that rather than silly without it. Anyway, I will speak to you again shortly. I will start sorting the dogs out and think about making me camp. Speak to you soon. Bye. Right guys, so got the tent set up, well, camp set up. My chair I brought to sit on has given up the ghost. It's just too soft and boggy here, lots of moss. I tried doing it on top of the tarp, it's just put a hole in the tarp and I went arse over backwards. Wish I'd got that on film, that would have been quite entertaining. So I'm sat on this big boulder which is basically over the fire pit while I can. Currently just whittling down a piece of pine wood that's fat wood in the middle to make a handle for my ferro rod. I made one for my son for his birthday. Basically, I've got some large ferro rods. I just put a fat wood handle on it so that he's always got a little bit of fat wood to hand. Obviously, he doesn't want to have to use it all the time and ruin the handle, but if he's desperate, he's got fat wood with him all the time. I just decided it was such a good idea, I'm going to make one for myself. And if I've got enough fat wood, I've got another spare ferro rod, big ferro rod, that I might just make up for someone else I have in mind. Dogs are being a nuisance, which was the worry, nicely, but they've been for a swim, cooled off. I've got my gear up. I've been playing fetch with them down the hill. Trouble is, there's that many branches, I'm just frightened that they'll run onto one that's stuck in the ground and spear themselves, knowing these two. So I'm having to be careful where I throw it. Bees are starting to come out now, so I'm going to see about doing something in a minute to create smoke, and I'll get rid of some of them, hopefully. What I might do, as I say, start off using the Kelly kettle that I've got. I'll film that once I've got it set up. Start off using the Kelly kettle and make a brew, because I'm going to try out a new coffee machine I've just got thing, which I'll also show you when I'm setting that up. And I can do that on this flat stone I've got here. And if anyone comes around, although there shouldn't be any smoke from a Kelly kettle, they're really efficient at burning. If you don't know what one is, as I say, I'll explain it all on that when I set it up shortly. But as I say, it's on a flat stone, it's self-contained, but it burns wood, and then once I've brewed up, I can use that to get my actual fire going, and I'll start a fire in the fire pit then. But I'll set it up in a minute and see how we go. I'm just going to whittle this down first. So I'm using my Mora knife that I've got. It's not an expensive one. Mora are really good low budget knives, good quality knife, very well made, very popular with scouts and the like. And they're normally really quite sharp as well. I bought one for me, bought one for my son, got it in a nice light green and brown, and put the orange tape on it so that if I drop it anywhere it should show up. I've got dozens of different types of knives. I've always sort of had different kinds of knives. Nowadays, obviously, you've got to be very careful what you carry. This is sort of, I think, a legal carry, but I always pack it at the bottom of my pack, so it's not quick and easily accessible, so nobody can accuse me of carrying it for the wrong reasons other than what it's for. And pretty much, I think, as long as you can justify what you're doing with it, and you're being sensible, the police are okay as well. As I say, it's like anything, it's a small percentage of idiots that ruin it for the rest of the sensible people. But you can't go out camping and doing bushcraft without a knife. As I say, I normally have a couple of different options with me anyway. I haven't picked up my Leatherman this time, that's normally in my kit. I think it's still my bike gear from the last bike rally I went to. I do have another hand-forged Damascus steel knife in some of my kit. I tend to have everything sectioned out. One of these days I'll show you how I set it up, but it was a rush job today, so it's not the most organised, so it's probably not a good time to film it. But I normally have different things. So I have a small container that has on. Wesley, come out. We've got lots of food. We'll smell the lamb steaks that we're having for tea. Yes, it's a knife. Don't sniff that. So I normally have a pack that has all my fire starting things. I have ferro rod in it. I do have matches. I do have a lighter. Oh God, I forgot his name. One of the guys I watch, American guy, Ranger, something. I'm rubbish with names. As he always says, 2 is 1, 1 is none. So I always carry at least 2 of most things that I take out with me when I'm doing camping and bushcraft. So I normally have at least 2 sources of light and fire, normally 3, even 4, because I kind of think that's one of the most important things to do when you're camping, or if you get lost or anything like that, or you need fire for heat, for sterilising water if you're having to get water from rivers or whatever. I've cheated. I bought a 3 litre bottle of water that I picked up on the way out. Basically, I had a water carrier that I was going to use, and then when it got empty, I was going to fill from the river through burlap bag and filter it and then sterilise it and try and film all that. But the water carrier, I noticed when I filled it before I set off because it's so hot. I wanted to make sure I had water for the dogs, never mind just myself. And I've noticed it's leaking, so the back of the Land Rover's wet through, but it's a Land Rover. It's got holes in the top, holes in the bottom. Water just goes straight through, doesn't even stop. Best way for it. So as I said, that has kind of fallen through, but I had the 3 litre bottle of water. Kelly kettle, if you haven't seen them, well, basically you fill this with water, the fire burns through the middle, there it sits in this, and you feed it from the bottom or sticks down through the middle. It's drawn up through here and heats your water in the outer surface. Very, very efficient, very, very quick boiling. As I say, I've only used this handful of times. You can see it's almost like new, but I do like it. It's just too bulky to take with me on my bike rally, so normally it's just it's over there. I normally have one of them collapsible kettles and use that on the stove or on the fire, depending on what I'm doing, or just a pan in the fire. But I do really like this, so I'm going to leave this in Tigger so that if I'm out in Tigger I can brew up easily. I'll have to set up a brew kit to go in Tigger. So I am going to do this. Now, when I was taking the outer bark off before, I kept it on, ready for fire starting. What I'm going to do, I'm going to put this down here. I'm going to, there it is. I'm going to try, God, the midges are getting bad. I might have to wear that silly bloody midgie net glasses. As I say, I'm getting short-sighted. I had the laser surgery done years ago, and basically they said that my reading vision would deteriorate with time. So this is some of the outer bark that I'm still trying to clean off here to get down to the proper fat wood, but it'll get things going nicely. And I say just getting nice curls. I have some actual fat wood over there from when I was trying to tidy up where it was cut before. Copper back off, good lad. They're very needy dogs. I love them both to pieces, but God, they both vie for your attention all the time. You know, I should put my bug spray in. When I get down to the actual fat, which is harder, I can then scrape it properly. There is some over there where I was basically trying to sort out the end of this. There's musk on it. Now my theory is if I light it on here, I can then just scoop it in. Actually, I might light it on the... Go away from the fire, dogs. It might be easier for me to move it over. Go away from where the fire is going to be. Wesley, go lie down. I love them, but they're a nuisance. Try to keep hydrated because it is absolutely sweltering. Wesley, go lie down. So in the core where my decent fat wood is, that's what I'm just getting now because I want to flatten this edge, so I might as well cut it down. So if it'll do the spine, no, I'll leave that really when I've got down to it, because you can see, or hopefully you can see, the fat wood in the middle. So the outer bit that ultimately I need to get rid of, which is what I'm just cleaning away from here. It will burn, it still has some resin in, but the darker wood is your fat wood, for those that aren't so sure. You get it, as I say, I'm surrounded by spruce pines that have died and fallen down, and if you go up to them, if you cut off the branches near the trunk, you get your fat wood. So here is my ferrous rod, quite a good one, I'll say so myself. Not catching. Oh, sorry, getting cramped now. Oh. Wesley, go and lie down. Lie down. Lie down. Move away. God, I can edit this. There's the doofer. Stop you. Hopefully that stopped. It hasn't. Oi! Back off. Right, where's my other glove? That is the question. Must be over there somewhere. So hopefully we'll get it going now. Let's see how we get on. Oh, it's not catching. Well, we may have to use some cotton wool. That's better, that's catching. You catch it, Wes. This rate I might blank this and cheat and use the some of the magnesium there. So, better put some water in here. Hey, hot dogs. And we will get the Kelly kettle on. Where's my little glove? There we are. Anyway, I'm going to boil this up, and then when I'm starting the fire I'll be back. Cheers guys. So the Kelly kettle's boiled. It's actually only taken a couple of minutes. So I've taken it off, it's over there ready for me to pour into the coffee. So I have moved it down there. I will show you the benefit of these extendable bellows as I'm out. Directs your airflow really well to get a struggling fire going. Anyway, I'm going to move around now. I will speak to you soon. Well, that's me fed and watered. Didn't film me cooking my meal. Didn't think it'd be much fun. Spent half my time just stopping the dogs from walking into hot stuff and knocking things over, to be fair. Got me tilly lamp burning there in the background. Not quite bright enough to read by, but just bright enough to see what we're doing around camp. But as you can see, I've got the headlight on anyway, so I might read for a bit. It's 10:30 now. I have kettle on the fire. I've made myself it was a pot rack, stainless steel. So I took it apart. That is the bit for standing your pots in, which is ideal for putting over the fire for cooking on. But there was also a metal sheet with just holes in it, and tonight's the first time I've used it to cook on, but it worked brilliantly. Got it red hot, absolutely sizzling. Nothing stuck. I just had lamb steaks, couple for me, couple for the dogs. But yeah, it worked really well. So I've just got the fire going. I've put some small bits on. There was a large half burnt log there that I've put on, which will burn hopefully most of the night, just to keep the chill off. Although it isn't cold, I'm still sweating me once it's off. My plan is tonight, I do have my sleeping bag at the bottom of my rucksack, but I'm just going to use my wool blanket, and I've got a bivvy bag, so I'm going to get into that mainly just because of possibility of getting ticks and what have you. So but yeah, that's what my plan is. So I will love you and leave you. It is a lovely clear night through the trees. I'll say I will love you and leave you. I will faff around, sort out some bits and pieces, because it does look like a car crash here. There's that much stuff about. I'm busy trying to feed the dogs and cook a meal and keep them entertained so they weren't running through the fire. Definitely much harder with two, but still being fun. Anyway, I'm going to sort out for the evening. I will catch you in the morning. Good night from me. How does it go? Everyone does that, don't they? And I'm not going to bother that. I'm just going to say good night, guys.
Good morning. So, quite a nice night's sleep. Got a little bit cold, and I had to put another layer on. Although I did have to change my shirt before I went to sleep because it was so wet from being so hot and sweating. And then I say I just had the blanket on, didn't even get into my bivvy bag for the first half of the night. Then it got a bit cooler, so got into the bivvy bag, but was warm enough with just a blanket. If I'd been in my sleeping bag, I wouldn't have needed the other layer, but I'd have been far too hot at the beginning of the night. It was just so warm in here. So I'm going to get up, I'm going to get a small fire going just to cook breakfast on, because I want to have the fire going and then out and be gone fairly early.
Well, camp's partly struck. Still got a little bit to put away, but I've taken the tarp down and packed a few bits and pieces. I was saying before about breaking up a pot rack stand. I'll show you the bit that I meant now. This is part of the drainer. It's got the small holes in. As I say, I cooked my lamb steaks on there quite nicely last night. Once that kettle's boiled, I'm going to do bacon on it this morning and try and do some scrambled egg or omelette, depending on how it turns out and how it sticks to the pan. So that is the plan for this morning. If I can find my stand, I think I know where I've packed it. I might set the camera up for that after. Anyway, I'm going to just do a bit more packing. Anyway, that was the end of my video. Thought that it had a different ending to that. I don't know if I've accidentally deleted it, but that's all I've got. Thank you for watching. Hope it's been entertaining. Hope that it's been informative. I do intend to try and do more. Hopefully they will get better at practice. Who knows? Anyway, that's my adventures in the wood. Thank you for watching. This is Stag's Head Bushcraft, as I've decided to call myself. Signing out. Thank you very much. See you again, guys. Bye.